Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you are in the world. This is Azeel's Gaming. I'm, of course, Azeel, and this is going to be an interesting video. I've been umming and ahhing over whether to do this video for a long time now. I've never really been sure on how to approach it, but basically we're going to dive into what I think the problem, or rather the main kind of problem with Warframe at the minute is on the community side of things. What I mean by that is, whilst the game may or may not have its issues, whilst it may or may not have its content problems or lack of content, whether you believe in that or not, or whether you believe that the bugs and stuff are also an issue, dev times, whatever, all of that kind of pales in comparison to the real problem of Warframe, which is, and you're not going to like this probably, it is the community itself. There are certain sections of the community which are both good and bad, and please don't take it that just because I may mention a section of the community does not mean that I think that they're all bad or inherently detract from the game. But I do feel like with Warframe it is a game of extremes, right? And that is no different to the community itself, right? So I feel like the certain sections of the community that I'm going to be discussing today are the extremes of that community. They are the part of the community that go that next level, and whilst on the whole they are needed because they are a good part of the community, this certain extreme section can kind of detract from it and actually hurt the cause that it is trying to put forward. So without further ado, we're going to get into what I kind of feel about each section. We're going to discuss each section in detail, and then I want to hear from you guys in the comment sections below what you think. Alright? So this first section is of course the helpers. Now, why would helpers be bad to the game Warframe, do you say? That is very simple. Warframe is a game where veterans have been playing for a long time. New players come into a game that's got 6 years of content and have no idea what they are doing. That is in part some of Warframe's great strengths, because it actually doesn't hold the gamer's hand. It allows you to discover it on the whole. However, it can be a little bit daunting. So what happens is veteran players will help out newer players, which is fantastic and a great thing, right? Until they go, again, extreme. What do I mean by extreme? I mean where they will go to the point of doing missions for the newer players, not giving players a chance to learn the missions for themselves. It is very often a case of a new player will come in, a veteran will help them, and they will just carry them through all the missions. They will just cheese it for them so that the newer player doesn't actually get a grasp on what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it, or, you know, any sort of understanding of the game itself. The other thing that they can do, and again, this is a fantastic thing that they are doing, but they are doing it in the wrong way, in my opinion, yeah? What they are doing is they are gifting things. Now, gifting is a part of the game. Gifting is a great part of the game. It's a fantastic feature. I myself use it on my Twitch channel as for giveaways. However, again, some of these veteran players can go a bit OTT with it, and they will gift frames, they will gift bundles, they will gift former, they will gift, you know, literally everything, which is great until you realise that then what happens is that newer player has nothing to do. And if the player's got nothing to do, what they're going to do, they're going to leave the game. If they've been carried through everything, and if they then get gifted all of the cool new frames and technologies and other awesome stuff, they're going to have nothing to do, they're going to get very bored very quickly. Now, again, I'm not saying gifting is bad. I'm not saying that helping new players is bad. I'm saying that you've got to do it in moderation. And for the people that do help out there, just think about what it is you're doing and how you're helping them. For example, instead of carrying them through a mission, it might be worthwhile maybe explaining to them how a mission works, hanging back, running there as backup in case they literally can't do it, but letting them do the majority of the work. Don't rush through to the end. Run through behind them. Let them work out. Let them work out that they don't need to kill everything. Let them work out that there are special ways that you can maybe make the mission a bit shorter if they want to. But you've got to let them experience that mission and enjoy that mission for them to understand that mission. Because if they don't, they won't know what's going on. They'll come to do it on their own. They won't want to do it because they've not got somebody to carry them. They ain't going to have a clue. With the gifting, use cosmetics. Everybody says endgame is fashion frame. Let them experience the end game. Let them experience that fashion. Buy them all the cosmetics in the world that you so desire. It will make them feel cool. It will make them feel awesome. But it will still allow them to have things to do in the game to farm out to get, because they will need the core things. They will need the weapons. They will need the warframes. They will need the former and the catalyst and everything else. They will have a reason to farm it out without you detracting from that, and yet you can still do a really nice thing and allow them to have their day be made by getting gifts in game. That is really my stance on helpers, and how in doing so much, because they are so awesome and so extreme and so good at helping, they are actually detracting from the new player experience. Next we have the hyper upper-uppers, as I so call them. Now, again, these people are required by the game, because if you don't have anybody hyping the game, if you don't have anybody getting excited by the game, then, well, you've got nobody to play your game because nobody's excited for it. So the hyper upper-uppers, as I'm so very happy to call them, are very, very, very core to the game. However, again, with Warframe, they are going a little bit OTT with it. They get so hyped up, they get so excited. In part, not helped by DE with all the delays. I understand why they delay, and I'm very happy for them to delay if it means that the content's going to come out in a better state. But the hyper-uppers get so hyped, they get so excited and so pumped, and they learn everything about the game, and they want to know everything about the new update that's coming out, that what happens is when that update finally comes out, it's all very underwhelming. They already know everything that they need to know. They already know, you know, the very date. They'll sit up, they will wait until that update drops, and then they'll smash it out. They will play it all in a matter of about 30 seconds. And what happens then is they've, again, got nothing to do, and they're back to this whole content drought fallacy. And that's not good. That's not helpful at all, because the hyper-uppers then become the very downer-owners. And they start slating the game. They say that the update wasn't good, and they start slating DE, and they start taking to Reddit, and it's just a horrible negative cycle. All I would ask that the hyper-uppers do is maybe just calm down a little bit. Understand that an update is not going to change the game completely unless they overhaul the entire game. If it's just a mainline update, if it's just a new mission mode that you know that's coming out, or a new alert mode, etc., that's all it's going to be. It's just going to be a little bit of a change that's going to freshen the game up. Don't overhype it. Don't make it out to be the be-all and end-all, because it's not going to be that. Please, I implore you, don't overhype anything. And this doesn't just, you know, stretch to Warframe. This extends to everything. This extends to why pre-ordering has come about in normal video games, because hype is a real thing, and marketers know this. I think, try to do their best to not overhype their games, but there are going to be members of that community that always do that. So if you are one of those people that gets so excited for the game, I love you, DE loves you, but please just rein it in a tiny little bit. That I think isn't really so good for the community. It all depends on how they do it. Like, you've got the very minimalist, and that is the naysayers. So, like, naysayers are good for a community if they are tactful. If they're not just trolly, if they're not just whingy, whiny people, if they are people that are genuinely wanting the game to be better, and so coming up with genuine critique, that's fine. The ones that have a problem are the ones that will take to Reddit, and no matter what you suggest or what you do, it's wrong, because they want everybody to be happy. They are not happy unless, you know, everything is to their exact specification. And what happens then is they naysay things. They will come on and they will be negative before an update. They are essentially the exact opposite of the hyper-uppers. They will be all, oh, this isn't going to save the game. this is all very bad, this update looks trash, etc, etc. And that is comments that is just toxic. That is not helpful to a game. And we get that it might be coming from a good place. We get that it might be because you want to see the game succeed. But there is a way of doing it. And that very toxic outlook, that very negative view of the world is not good for anybody. So whilst I need to cover this, it's not going to be a huge part of the video because it's very simple. Don't be so down and out. But at the same time, as with the hyper-uppers, don't be so overly positive either. Meet somewhere in the middle. Modesty and moderation, I think, are the two key words of this video that all these parts of the community kind of need. Is one that I am actually part of. Now, again, I'm not saying that all Warframe partners are bad. I'm not saying that all Warframe partners are good. However, I feel like because we get so passionate, because we have that sort of connection with DE, because we get to talk to them directly, it gives us a bit of a either rose-tinted glasses or very much the opposite. And again, it's all about finding that moderation and balance. We need to, as Warframe partners, make sure that we are not enforcing our bias on our viewers. We need to make sure that we are always informing them in a very direct, honest, and good way. We need to not impart our own bad habits or traits onto the viewers. We need to understand that just because we really want that one thing, if we choose to go out after that one thing, or if we choose to sit and farm for hours because we like a certain aspect of the game, if they don't make that essentially easier or harder, or that mission better, or this mission to our liking, to not impart that negativity onto the community. We have to realize that we are pillars, we are the forefront, we are the connecting bridge between DE and the rest of the community ourselves. We need to understand to be professional at all times. Again, most of us, 99% of us, I think, are always very much that way. But I feel like we forget that we have a position of responsibility, and we need to enforce that and make sure that we are representing ourselves and DE in a correct way. But that's really all I've got to say on that one. Yeah. So there you are, guys. That is a short video on what I feel is kind of wrong with Warframe at the minute. I feel like the community as a whole is awesome. Sometimes it can be a little bit much, and as a result, that means that DE as a company have a very hard time in pinpointing what it is we actually want and how to keep us happy. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I shall see you all next time. Love your faces. Ciao, ciao.